The Giants Live Strongman Classic is just 2 weeks away in the Royal Albert Hall in London, and people are saying that this might be the best lineup we have had at a Giants Live in a very long time. So in today's video, I'm going to go through all of the athletes, all of the events, and try my best to give my thoughts and predictions on what I think is going to go down in London in a few weeks' time. My name is Toby Lively. Sorry for the lack of videos recently. As you can tell by what I'm wearing, it has been absolutely horrendously hot in the UK at the minute. And furthermore, I've been just super unbelievably busy at work. So I've managed to find some time to sit down and make this video for you guys. But I'm going to try and pick up the video making again in the next few weeks as stuff calms down a bit. But without further ado, I think we should jump straight in to the Strongman Classic. But before we do, I just want to say, if you could, go down below, like the video, and subscribe for more pro strongman coverage and my own strongman training. It'd help the channel out massively. But without wasting any more of your guys' time, let's get into who is competing at the Strongman Classic. So guys, this really is an absolutely stacked lineup. We have the current world's strongest man, Whey competing. We have Mitchell Hooper, we have Evan Singleton, we have Trey Mitchell, we have Mateusz Kiliashkovsky, we have Pavlo Kordiaka, Paddy Haynes, Lucas Hatton, Ben Glasscock, Jacko Schoonwinkel, Spencer Remick, and Nick Guardione rounding out our lineup. And that is one hell of a lineup for the Strongman Classic. I cannot believe that this is only Lucas Hatton's first Giants Live, but I'm really excited to see how he performs in this style of competition. Obviously, having Whey, Mitch Hooper, Evan Singleton, Trey Mitchell, Mateusz, all of these guys, it's going to be an absolutely brilliant show. I think the events are really interesting and suit some guys more than others, but we will go through exactly what those events are right now. So kicking us off then, we have the log medley. I believe this is a normal sort of Giants Live log ladder, which is going to be really interesting. We've got the frame carry, which is an event I am really pleased to see back at Giants Live. I absolutely love any sort of frame carry, farmer's walk, that sort of thing. We have the deadlift for reps, a classic Giants Live staple. We have the Hercules hold with special guest Mark Felix going for the world record, and then rounding us out, we have the Castle Stones. So a pretty solid Giants Live setup of events, and I feel like some of these athletes on these events are going to put in some stellar performances, and we're going to see some really good battles. So I think now what we'll do is go event by event and talk about who in this lineup can do very, very well. So on the log medley, I think the one to watch on this event is going to be Mateusz. I think we're going to see some insane Viper pressing from Mateusz. But speaking of insane Viper pressing, I just want to shout out Jack Osborne for Viper pressing a 200 kilo log in training. That is just absolutely mental, and I wanted to shout out in this video. Go check it out on Instagram. It's honestly ridiculous. But back to the task at hand here. Mateusz is going to do some mental Viper pressing, I'm sure. Then like Lucas and Trey, both absolute monsters overhead. I expect them both to finish this medley, no problem. Mitch Hooper is Mitch Hooper. He will very likely finish and do well, be top 3 in this sort of event. Evan Singleton's very explosive. Ben Glasscock's a bit of a sleeper on this event. I'm not sure if he'll like finish the event, but he'll be up there. His log press is very, very good. And I think it being a log medley as well suits someone like Paddy Haynes a hell of a lot more than obviously like the max axle we've seen here in the past. I think Paddy has it in the locker now to get a good few points on a log medley, having just hit 170 in training and make it look super easy. So it's going to be a very interesting thing. And actually someone I haven't spoken about on the log medley who I expect to be very good here is Pavlo Kordiaka. Super explosive, super quick, super snappy. I think can do very well on this event. I think the log medley is going to be a very interesting one. I think we're going to have obviously the powerhouses of Lucas Hatton, Trey Mitchell, easily able to finish every single log. But will they get beaten up by some of the quicker, snappier athletes like Pavlo Kordiaka, like Mateusz Viper pressing? It's going to be a very interesting first event, I think. I think it's a really good overhead event, a log medley, because it doesn't just suit the brute power athletes. The athleticism and the explosiveness as well is fantastic. So I think it's going to be an interesting battle, and we're going to see maybe some shock results, but also maybe not. Now, frame carry is an interesting one because obviously this is Trey Mitchell's weakness. Hopefully he's able to pick it up and go with it, but if not, that's a shame. But we've got some really good movers in this competition. Obviously, Mateusz will absolutely fly with the frame. He always has done. If his Achilles, he's got confidence back in that Achilles, he'll be able to absolutely fly with the frame. I expect Paddy Haynes to move well with the frame. Lucas moved very well with the frame at the Arnold, so I expect him to do fairly well. Obviously, Evan as well is an absolutely phenomenal frame carrier. It's just about how quickly Evan's back from that bicep tear. Like, I can't believe he's still competing, but fair play, Evan. But on a frame carry, he should be able to absolutely smoke it. Rain O'Neill on this frame carry, I think is going to be interesting. I think he's going to absolutely fly on it. I didn't really speak about Reno with the log medley, but again, he's just such an unknown for me. Obviously, he comes in, wins World's Strongest Man. I expect him to do well on all of these events, but frame carry, I can see him definitely doing very well on that. Nick Guardione as well, I can expect moving quite well. He's a fast mover, athletic athlete. I'm really interested to see Nick at this competition, actually. I feel like it'll be a good one for him to compete in. I feel like it's going to be very interesting. But frame carry, it's going to be a bloodbath, really. I think it's going to be a really quick, fast-paced event, and I think we're going to see some really, really speedy frames. Deadlift for reps then, Classic Giants Live. We have some good data on this one. Obviously, I think at the top end of this, we're going to have Paddy and Mitch. Now, they've gone back and forth with who's winning deadlift for reps a few times. So I think Paddy and Mitch are going to be top two on this event with the deadlift. We could see someone like, Spencer. He's a very solid deadlifter. I think there's going to be a lot of, of course, Trey. Trey is going to be up there as well. Top three on this event, without a doubt in my mind, is going to be Trey, Mitch, Paddy. In what order, I don't know, but Trey for sure is going to be up there. Reno's going to do very, very well. Evan's going to be very solid. Obviously, unfortunately, Mateusz and Pavlo are going to drop a few points here. Ben's an interesting one. He's going to be very mid-pack on this one, I think, because he's decent at deadlift. He's solid at deadlift. But obviously not touching that top end quite yet. Lucas, again, I could see him sort of 4th, 5th on this event. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I think we're going to have those top three, Mitch, Evan, and Paddy. No, not Mitch, Evan, Paddy. Mitch, Trey, and Paddy pull away a bit. And then there's going to be a big gaggle around that sort of 6 rep mark, I reckon, on this deadlift. And there's going to be a lot of people, I reckon, could even tie on that number and it blow the points wide open. It's going to be very interesting, this deadlift for reps, being bang slap in the middle of the competition. It could change the landscape of the points, obviously, because like someone like Trey has the ability to win the log ladder and then honestly the ability to come last in the frame and then win the deadlift. So it's going to change points massively. And I think someone coming very solidly, like say Mitch, Trey, and Paddy, they all get sort of the 8-9 rep mark on this deadlift. And a big gaggle of people on the 5-6 mark. If you've got someone like Spencer or someone like that getting that 7 rep mark on the deadlift and getting a good amount of standalone points, it could be really interesting. So as much as we see deadlift for reps at Giants Live a hell of a lot, I always think it's a really interesting event that blows the points wide open because of the ties, because of what different people can do. So I think it's going to be an interesting one. And then we have Hercules hold with this field of athletes. I think is going to be very interesting because obviously we saw at World's Strongest Man, Rain O'Neill, phenomenal at Hercules hold. Really, really good. Paddy Haynes, obviously, again, very, very solid grip. Normally, Trey is decent at Hercules hold. Had a bit of a nightmare at Worlds, but can he bring it back at this one? There's lots of these guys who are very good at Hercules hold. Evans, always very good at Hercules hold. So I feel like we're going to get a very interesting spread of points here. And I'm not sure what like Lucas is or Hercules hold. Could he be very, very good? I don't know. But I think for this one, we're watching out for sort of a Reno, Paddy, Evans sort of top three. Mitch hasn't really convinced me on Hercules hold, especially at Worlds, but obviously at Worlds he was off of his game. Sort of his mindset was gone, and on a grip event like that, if you've not got the mindset for it, you're just not going to hold on. So we could see Mitch come back in, get sort of a top 3 on that event if his head's screwed on. But for me, I think Reno, Evan, Paddy, they're the ones to watch on this Hercules hold. And then the stones to finish off. Obviously, we've got a lot of really good stone lifters in this competition. Trey's phenomenal at stone lifting. Paddy's very, very good. Ben Glasscock's very decent at stone loading. Obviously, Reno Nell's very good. Mitch, Evan, Mateusz, they're all fantastic stone lifters. So I expect we'll see a good few finishers on this stone run. But yeah, to pick a top 3 on the stones is just phenomenally difficult, I think it is. And I think it's all going to depend on where the points are after the Hercules hold, with how much people absolutely send it. But yeah, I think stones are stones. Like, I don't think we're going to see too many surprises and upsets. I think we're going to know that like Paddy's going to do well at stones, Mitch is going to do decent, Evan's going to do decent, Trey's going to be fast, Mateusz is going to be fast. Like, we're going to have a lot of good, solid finishers on the stones, with possibly some upsets. But for me, I think it's going to be one of the easier ones to predict for this competition. But it brings us to now the point in the video where I've got to sort of pick a top 3 for the entire competition. I'll tell you what, this is a very hard competition to pick a top 3 on. I might try and pick a top 5, honestly, because I think it's going to be tough. I really do. I think if Mitch is back in like on form, Mitch mindset, back in shape, I think Mitch is again the favorite to win. But it depends what Mitch shows up to this competition based after Worlds. I think Reno, again, very good events for Reno, very solid across the board. I could see Reno easily top 2 in this competition, winning or second. So I'm gonna stick Mitch in first, Reno in second, and I'm gonna back Paddy for third, which, you know, might be an interesting pick for some, but I think in this lineup, obviously Mateusz loses points on the deadlift and possibly the Hercules hold. You know, Trey loses massive points on that frame carry. So I actually think we're going to see Trey in his lovely favourite spot of 4th, to be honest. Evan's just such a wild card. He could either come in and win the whole thing or, you know, come about 5th. I don't know. But I think Paddy, like, log medley, yeah, his overhead's not the best, but it's also, log medley is not the worst overhead event for him. And when you've got a lineup like this, I feel like, you know, Paddy could possibly beat like a Yakko Schoonwinkle overhead, possibly a Spencer, just because by doing the same amount of logs a bit quicker, you know, you could pick up a few points. And I think frame carry, you know, Paddy could win, could be top 3. He's a very quick mover. Deadlift obviously can be easily top 2 on that. Herc hold again, up in top 3, and then stones, he has the ability to win. So for Paddy, it's that story again where we've got 4 incredibly good events for him and then the overhead. And I think we've proven now at Europe's Strongest Man, at World's Strongest Man, that calling Paddy on the podium or in that, you know, top 5 in the world is really not a bad shout, even with a weakness like that, because every strongman has a weakness. It's just obviously overhead's quite a glaring one, but I mean, his training's convincing me he's getting better and better. So, you know, I'm going to stick with my guns and put Paddy in the 3rd on my podium. So we've got Mitch, Reno, Paddy as the top 3, in my opinion. And I think for what it's worth, 4th and 5th are going to be Trey and Evan. It's hard because, you know, I want to put Mateusz up there. He's a fantastic athlete, but he was off his best at Worlds. And with the deadlift in there and Herc hold not being like a winning performance for him, it's hard. You know, Lucas, his first Giants Live, he could do, you know, insanely well. I'm probably sleeping on Lucas a bit here, but, you know, he didn't make the finals at Worlds. We knew it weren't best events for him. I think Lucas would have preferred like a more max overhead. But the other events, they're decent for him. I don't know what he's like on Herc hold, so I can't say. It's like, I would not be shocked at all to see Lucas top 3 in this competition. I would not be shocked to see, you know, Pavlo again, someone who, you know, log medley, very good. Frame carry, I expect him to be quick. Deadlift, you know, drop a few points on, but Herc hold not his best, to be fair. And stones, he's decent. Like, Pavlo could either be sort of 7th in this comp or like 4th. You know, you just don't know. It's so hard to call. But I'm going to stick with my guns with a Mitch, Reno, Paddy podium. And I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments below. What is your podium for this competition? But yeah, it's going to be an exciting one. I'm really excited to watch it. You know, it's always one of my favorite shows to watch. Unfortunately, again, yeah, can't be there in person because it was sold out by the time I even looked. But I have bought my tickets for the World Deadlift Championships in Birmingham. So I will actually be at that one in person, which will be awesome. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what you think is going to happen in this competition, who your top 3 is. Have I made some disastrous calls with my predictions there? I just think it's so hard to predict that, you know, you're never going to be satisfying everyone with your predictions. But my predictions have been pretty damn good recently, so let's see if we get a Mitch, Reno, Paddy podium. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Like the video, comment down below, and of course, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next video.